The Nation yesterday did a story and explained the absence of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua started on the tree planting day, because the DP was supposed to fly to Bomet to spearhead tree planting exercise, and his office made a call to the Air Force boss so that a chopper could be made available for the Deputy President to fly to Bomet. And to the surprise of the DP's handlers, the military bosses said that there are orders from above that no military chopper should be used by politicians again. And the things didn't stop there. Later on, Rigathi's office tried to make arrangement for the private choppers, but the provider also demanded that the payment be made upfront. And so because of that, communication collapsed and Rigathi did not fly to Bomet. Then the Nation team had tried to reach out to Rigathi, and they reliably reported that Rigathi went to Nyeri and his phone is off the radar. That is what the country was told. And that was emerging because the second in command had missed 11 state events and the country was raising questions. I need to say this. The Deputy President is a public officer and is a property of the nation. So the country was asking pertinent question. Where is Rigathi Gachagua? Now, just a day later, the UDA team dispatched the National Assembly Chief Whip, South Mugirango Member of Parliament, Silvanus Osoro, to unleash and explain to the nation where Rigathi is and what exactly is the problem between William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. I am saying this because it is not just by coincidence. Silvanus Osoro attended a memorial service to, I think, life and memory of the mother of Johnson Sakaja, and that event was organized, I think it was somewhere in Kitale if I'm not wrong, so that they remember the life of Sakaja's mother. And Silvanus Osoro, who was also a guest, took time to explain, and in his speech, he was speaking because he's addressing media. This is what Osoro said.
Sometimes people complain, they raise issue with the way you operate in Nairobi, but there is no other way to work in Nairobi as governor, because you really must live with all people and work with all people. So having said that, I really want to appreciate Honorable Sakaja, and then say, because now I see cameras here, just one line that I've seen in the political scenes, people raise issue with, and I think this is just for the media, I've seen people raise issue with the absence of the Deputy President in the political scene. I mean, Deputy President can also relax at times. I think he's been worked up for some time. He's now taken a break for a week or so. Let him relax. I hear tomorrow he'll be in Nyeri. When he'll be there, he'll speak by himself. But for now, it's been very tough on him. But the most important thing, even in those people in the political space, we must shun blackmail or blackmailing others for us to survive in the political scene. It's important for us to stop the personality discussion and focus just on development. Having said that, kindly, with tremendous respect, allow me also to invite Honorable Ruto to say a word, and then you kindly, with respect, allow us to take our leave for Kasese constituency. It's Kasese. Thank you very much.
Now, you will understand the two things that he has spoken there. Number one, he's making it like Rigathi Gachagua, it's not a problem that Rigathi Gachagua is not in public and Rigathi Gachagua is not being seen. Number two, Rigathi can also take a leave and has been worked up, so has just been resting home in Nyeri. That statement is very sarcastic. And number two, before he finishes, he's saying that it is time for politicians to stop blackmail. In real sense, the Ruto administration is accusing Rigathi Gachagua of political blackmail. That is what Silvanus Osoro is telling the nation. And I want us to analyze this statement keenly. But first, let's look at the body language of Osoro. According to Osoro, they are actually blaming Rigathi Gachagua for the fallout. That we should stop the politics of personality and talk about development. So from that video, first thing you can see is that they are blaming Rigathi Gachagua. Number two, they are dismissing Rigathi Gachagua's absence in public as a non-issue. It is normal, according to what Osoro is saying, it seems normal that the second in command has not been attending the state functions. And it's not something that should actually bother the nation. In fact, from what I can see here, Osoro and the Ruto camp are even wondering, why is the media asking those questions? And I'm going to tell you about the objective of that reaction from Silvanus Osoro. And then I ask, if the government wanted to respond to this question, I think there are structures. There is a government spokesperson who can just send a media statement and explain and make official communication. But addressing Rigathi's absence, like in those events, is just telling you that Kenya Kwanza administration really are taking Rigathi's absence as an issue. You will realize that yesterday, in this photo here, this is the time when William Ruto arrived in the country from Rwanda. Contrary, or rather departure from presidents, the deputy president is the person that is supposed to receive his boss. But at the airport, it was Kimani Ichung'wah, the CDF, and Interior CS Kithure Kindiki. So do you realize that even with the absence of Rigathi Gachagua, the Kimani Ichung'wah and the team are taking over? The same incident on what happened at the airport when Raila Odinga also received Museveni at the JKA, also saw off Museveni, who was heading to Uganda after a 3-day state visit in Kenya. So you will see this clearly. Kimani Ichung'wah received William Ruto at the airport. And let me tell you this. I'm making a very keen point on the way Silvanus Osoro is talking. The tone is that William Ruto is not pushing a ceasefire with his deputy. So whenever, if Rigathi Gachagua will listen to this video, there is one thing he has to understand, he has to see from Silvanus Osoro's statement, that William Ruto is not pushing any ceasefire. If there is a fallout, the way William Ruto is handling this fallout is to show Rigathi that I am not interested. You're going to speak tomorrow. You can just speak. In fact, you've just been off. Remember, Osoro is talking this way when he knows very well that the reason why Rigathi Gachagua was not in public is because of a fallout. So it's not true that Rigathi is on leave. Let's have that first. It is not true that Rigathi Gachagua is on leave. What is true is that Rigathi Gachagua went to Madeira because he fell out with his boss. So, what is going on? Number one, the tone, he's not pushing this ceasefire because there is a plan to push Rigathi Gachagua to the periphery. In fact, the resultant effect here is that Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua will be pushed off the table. That's number one. Number two, the young parliamentarians around William Ruto, the Ndindi Nyoro and the Kimani Ichung'wahs of our time, that have surrounded the president, have created the compact majority, and they are interested in pushing away the DP. I don't support Rigathi's statement in public. and the way he handles political opponents during Mandamano, the talk on shareholding, and his antagonistic speech, and even the way he antagonized Uhuru Kenyatta in Mount Kenya. On that ground, I don't support Rigathi Gachagua. But they were all partners in crime. Both Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wah, and Rigathi Gachagua were in one camp, partners in crime. How it is normal that William Ruto is falling out with his boss, and the likes of Ndindi Nyoro and Kimani Ichung'wah and Kithure Kindiki are coming over to take that space comfortably without pushing a ceasefire should puzzle Mount Kenya. And I want to tell William Ruto, Rigathi might be a lightweight in the national image, but Rigathi also have a big constituency behind him. And these two counties, Embu and Nyeri. So yes, he's going to speak tomorrow in Nyeri. We are waiting for what he's going to say. I think he's going to attend a church. He's going to attend a church service there and he's going to speak about something. It is not something that is very clear. But let me say this. What is the interpretation of the blackmail? What is the interpretation of the blackmail? From what Silvanus Osoro is saying, he's saying Rigathi is blackmailing the president. On the blackmail, I'm seeing three possibilities. 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote was spoken last week in Embu. And this is Rigathi talking in Embu. So, what are we seeing here? What we are seeing here is Ruto understands that Rigathi's statement on 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote was to blackmail him to submission. And if what he needs to ask, what the country needs to ask, if indeed Rigathi is blackmailing Ruto into submission, then what is this that he wants that he can't get, that he has to blackmail the president? You know, that is the question that people need to ask. What is this that he needs from the president or he needs from government and is not getting it? That is why he has resorted to blackmail the president. It will be very important to look at that. And what I'm seeing is this. The fallout between William Ruto and his deputy is a much deeper, lucrative government tenders. The tenders are splitting Ruto and his deputy. The tenders are splitting Ruto and his deputy. I may be wrong on this. I'm just speaking what have always happened in the past. The other time when there was that issue of, I remember the other time when there was that issue of, what about it? There was the issue of net. That issue of net. What happened? What exactly happened? Clearly, there was someone who needed a tender and it was on the other side of the deputy president. So one thing I am seeing here, the tenders are splitting Kenya Kwanza. And why am I, and let me put another point to this. Do you know, the fallout between DP and Ruto is coming just days after Linturi impeachment motion collapse. I am seeing something. That committee that was formed, it's on record that they were bribed, paid millions. But that impeachment was also on removal of a CS. Is there a possibility that Rigathi Gachagua was part of the wider scheme to save Linturi from impeachment against William Ruto? Wish. Did someone want Linturi to go home and the deputy president played a different script, a different ball game to save Linturi? Is it about that? You may need to question, and I'm not going to talk more about it. By all this, by the time goes, we will understand. Number two, the other thing is the chopper denial. The fact that Rigathi was denied chopper, he might have felt like his office is undermined. And after he was denied that chopper, he decided to say, sit back and not to attend these functions. And that is why Osoro is saying that we are not going to entertain the politics of blackmail. So the blackmail narrative is coming because Rigathi retreated, boycotted the national events in protest. But let's also not, this should also not be lost to us. When this statement came out that there is a fallout, I analyzed it in the first video and I said, Ruto fell out with Uhuru Kenyatta within 5 years, but they worked for 10 years. And then Ruto is now falling out with his deputy after 2 years. The country will be tempted to interrogate who is the problem. Is the problem the son of Sugoi? Is it just normal that we fall out with everyone? So there is a conduit scheme to already take this debate to public, because they know very well that Mount Kenya is going to have, there is a clique of Mount Kenya, a section of Mount Kenya is going to sympathize with Rigathi. It is human nature to sympathize with the oppressed. It is human nature. It's a Kenyan culture to sympathize with that who we see as oppressed. So the statement by Silvanus Osoro is supposed to serve to protect the image of the president. And what the president is trying to do is trying to absolve himself from any blame, because the story is already out that there were orders from above. If the military boss is saying don't give chopper to Rigathi and they're saying orders from above, then who is this person above apart from the president? It can only be the president. So the statement by Osoro is supposed to absolve the problem of any blame and is now blaming Rigathi for his own troubles. And clearly, I think if Ruto has chosen that route to address the fallout, then he's handling it wrongly. It is on record. Charles Keter said, way after the election, said, even before 2017 general election, William Ruto had fallen out with Uhuru Kenyatta. But Uhuru Kenyatta played it cool. Do you know, even despite the fact that Ruto did not welcome the handshake with Raila, Uhuru Kenyatta he did not show any disdain on his deputy until William Ruto decided now to go and start campaigning. And that is where he went to, I think that was in Kajiado, and Ruto was saying, deputy yangu ndio anatanga huku, akikuja mtamwambia hizi shida. So the start of public fallout between Ruto and Uhuru came out way back in July 2018, even though they had fallen out even before the 2017 general election. And I believe if Ruto is struggling to execute this fallout this way by the likes of Osoro, then he's getting it wrong, because it's going to spread by bushfire. It's going to start by Osoro. Politicians are trying to find anything they can say about this fallout. Everyone in UDA will start castigating Rigathi Gachagua. And by the time the DP will think about mending fences, it would be too late, too little. If you want ceasefire, I think the way of handling it is not the right path. Thank you.